me because they have to make a living, and they're making a living or trying to by additional pumping of groundwater. That affects me and everybody else that lives in this valley. I don't care whether you're in the cities, whether you're in the country, how far you are from either of these projects, it affects you. What happened in the Endangered Species Act, and I'm not totally opposed to it, but I have high concerns when it involves your drinking water and displacement or non-delivery of drinking water, farm-related water, which goes and causes pressure on our underground water. The ESA needs to be amended, or it needs to be completely dropped out of our water systems, and that's everybody's water systems across the United States. Furthermore, the Central Valley Project Improvement Act, the CVPIA as it's known, has continually taken water, and that's what's caused and forced the release of the water from the Bryant system. That's shut down the pumps up in the Delta associated with the Central Valley Project Improvement Act and the Endangered Species Act, one on top of the other. Our farm workers, my neighbors out to the west, the farm workers are struggling. Our friends down to the south where Mr. Starr farms, not only is their water supply being curtailed, but the price is astronomical. It's going to the point where they can't afford to pump water from the aqueduct. What little water they get costs them too much money. So our valleys, when you're talking about conservation, you got to look at the hundreds of thousands of acres that's being dried up on the west side. Is this what conservation is? If that's what conservation is, I'm opposed. So with that, I appreciate the work that Devin Nunes, Kevin, and the rest of this Congress delegation that's here today is trying to do and is working on, and we need relief.
We have dedicated millions, literally millions of acre-feet of water since 1992 to the recovery of these fish. And we have spent and provided no benefit to the fisheries. The Delta smelt abundance is at a record low level, despite the fact that over the last 2 years, we have been living with new restrictions, additional restrictions to protect fish. In the fall of 2009, the abundance of this fish was lower than it has ever been. And Mr. Larson made the comment that to the environmental use of water, we would not have lost this water.
Next, to have this town hall meeting today, I think the tenor of the comments so far has emphasized that the problem ultimately is with the Endangered Species Act itself. And so Pacific Legal Foundation is spearheading a lawsuit that challenges the constitutionality of these pumping restrictions, that they're not just immoral, but they're flat out unconstitutional. And specifically, that they're beyond Congress's power to regulate interstate commerce as applied to the Delta smelt, a species that's only found in this state and that has no commercial value. In the last year or so, there's been a lot of talk about health care and about how maybe there are some things that the federal government cannot do with respect to health care because it's beyond the federal government's power to regulate interstate commerce. Well, gentlemen, it's the same issue with respect to the Endangered Species Act. The federal government cannot regulate everything in this country, and especially the federal government cannot regulate a species that's only found in this state that has no impact on interstate commerce as an item in commerce. And so I would just offer to you for your consideration that although political remedies are important, ultimately it's a question of whether the Endangered Species Act is a good law and whether it's a constitutional law. And we are already in the Ninth Circuit trying to litigate to fight for people's constitutional rights as well as their rights to water. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much on this in the United States. I'm trying to get the bloggers to be involved. Also, I want to just point out, we can't forget that this is a ripple effect. I'm not a farmer, but it's affecting my company. It's affecting all the companies who deal with the farmers, the chemical companies, the radio communications companies, and the produce companies. My sister is packing right now to move. She's lost her job. This is a ripple effect that's affecting all of us in this economy, and it's destroying us. Representative Nunes, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your fight for this. I've seen your YouTube videos. You have a passion, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All of you, Mr. McClintock, you rock. Thank you very much.
My name is Patrick Kavanaugh, local journalist, and I've been covering
that we had won on the House side on an appropriations bill that was then, the vote was held open, and 118 people in order to get that out of the House of Representatives. Senator Feinstein and Senator Boxer had an opportunity last year in the Senate with an amendment that they voted against, an amendment that was identical to or virtually I continue to do is just tell the truth, because the truth, it really hurts when people actually look at the record and analyze the facts. So my hope...
I would like to help, but I'm just a simple woman, so if you guys want my help with the ideas, I can help that way. But the Fish and Game can help preserve...
Thank you and good morning, and thank you for being here in Fresno County. Really ground zero, as Tom Birmingham said, about the water crisis. My name is Judy Case. I am chairman of the Fresno County Board.
I will tell you here today, just looking at this crowd, it does not meet reasonable and prudent measures, because if it was reasonable and prudent, we wouldn't be sitting here. And if it was constitutional, that's another question, and that really needs to be looked at, because I'm not sure that it is. I'm not convinced. So please, talk to people.
Rather turn the farmer into the fall guy. I mean, when you really think about it, our population in California has increased immensely, but our leadership hasn't done anything to take care of infrastructure to keep up with it. So
the drilled in town are unusable, not enough quantity. And I really hate to see the value of our farmland in the citrus area on the east side. I hate to see us go back to 67% unemployment in the community of Lindsay. And you know, it's about people are getting fed up with the federal government. There's no doubt about it. And we see this revolt taking place throughout the country. And it may come to more than that. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning.
Patrick, Brian, you know, I've heard about citizens are ill-informed and uneducated about the seriousness of the drought, as well as I heard, or I saw a program on a major network I will not mention, the #1 grazing industry in the world, which is right here in Fresno, California, and she mentioned that she wanted ag here in the Central Valley so we can outsource the growing of our food to foreign nations.
He was absolutely correct. These people in these countries can't even formulate good baby formula or safe toys for our kids.